Tonight for dinner, we are having a quick and easy sesame ginger salad. I just use a salad kit for this. I bulk it up with some of the other veggies that I already have in my fridge. I had some spring mix and a couple of carrots that I threw in here. But these are so nice and they come together so quickly. We actually eat quite a few of the salad kits, but this one is by far our favorite. And it comes together so quickly. This particular salad kit is definitely enough to feed one person. So if you're just feeding yourself, just do the one. But if you're feeding a group, you'll definitely have to cut up some veggies or just use more salad kits. I think this would be great with shrimp. I think this would be great with tofu if you like tofu. And then I choose my seasonings for the protein based off of the ingredients that are listed on the back of the container for the dressing. I think that tends to tie them together really, really well. The first thing we're going to do is cut up our chicken, and I like to cut up my chicken into really tiny little pieces, maybe about the size of a kernel of corn, a little bit bigger. Because I'm doing a salad, I like to make sure that I get a little piece of chicken in every bite. And so the smaller the pieces are, the better they are. When you're cutting meat up this small, I find it easiest to do this if it's still a tiny bit frozen. It just kind of gives it some rigidity so it doesn't squish beneath your knife. And with that all cut up, I'm going to wash my hands and we'll get this seasoned. So I've got my one chicken breast cut up in a bowl here. And for seasoning, I've got quite a few things that go into this, but it's really straightforward. I'm going to do about a teaspoon or two of soy sauce. And then about the same amount of sesame oil. Maybe a teaspoon, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of ginger paste. And then a teaspoon each of all of my dry spices. I've got onion powder, garlic powder, and I'm just adding a little bit of ginger powder because I really like ginger. But if you don't like ginger quite this much, then you can skip either the powder or the ginger paste. I'm going to do about a teaspoon of white pepper. About a teaspoon of MSG. Maybe a little under a teaspoon of salt. Little teaspoon of sugar, and then last thing is about a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. I'm just going to give this a good mix to make sure everything is nicely coated, and then that's it. This just gets fried in a pan and the chicken is done. All right, this is all mixed. I'm going to wash my hands one more time and then throw this in the pan. All right, our pan has been heating up, and you know it's ready when your water starts to bead up around the pan. I'm going to go ahead and add in a generous amount of sesame oil. And then my chicken will go straight in, and I like to kind of spread it out a little bit so I can get as much surface area touching the chicken, touching the hot pan as possible. And then I'm just going to let that sit here for a few minutes. I'm not going to touch it until the bottom edge is going to release naturally and it gets a little bit crispy on the bottom. While my chicken is cooking, I'm going to get started on the salad base. I really like to use this salad kit, but I have learned that it's just not quite enough food for 2 people. I think it's really close, but I'm just gonna kind of beef it up with some of the veggies I have in my fridge. I'm gonna take the dressing and toppings out, and then I'm just gonna dump all of this into my salad spinner. And then I'm just gonna start by peeling 1 carrot. If you're not sure what veggies to add into your salad kit, I would just take a look on the front of the bag. It always tells you what's in here. This one has green cabbage, green leaf lettuce, red cabbage, green onions, carrots, and kale. Any of those would be a great choice. I'm gonna add carrot, and I'm just gonna add some of this baby spring mix. If I had cabbage or even just like romaine lettuce, I think those would also work great in here. And then same thing with the chicken. I like to make everything about the same size because I just like a lot of smaller pieces in my salad. It makes it easier to get a little bit of everything in every single bite. All right, my carrot is going in the salad spinner, and then we're gonna cut up some of this spring mix. The way I cut up my leafy vegetables is a little interesting. I just like to stack it up really nicely together because I'm essentially gonna cut this into tiny little cubes, and I just find it easiest when it's all stacked up together. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know, the pieces obviously aren't going to be all totally uniform. It just makes it easier when they're all together. I'm just going to cut it into strips and then rotate the entire thing and then cut that into little pieces in the other direction. And then that is also going into my salad spinner. And I'm gonna do just a little bit more. If you're unsure how much salad to use, the way that I started out doing this is I would just put it in the bowls that we're gonna eat in and see if I was happy with that quantity. Now I kind of know what it looks like in my salad spinner. All right, and that is it. That is all the chopping we're gonna do. I'm gonna give these veggies a couple of washes in my salad spinner, and then my chicken should be done by then. If you've been trying to get more salads in, more veggies in, or if you have been looking into kind of volume eating or quantity eating, I think these salad kits are a fantastic place to start. I spent most of my life hating salads, but this has actually turned into one of my all-time favorite meals. We have this at least once a week throughout the entirety of spring and summer. And really, you got to find a dressing that you like. You need to find greens that you don't hate and add a protein. The other thing that I like to recommend is get a salad spinner. Of course, you have to wash all your vegetables, but this salad spinner has absolutely changed my life. This salad spinner has made it feel like I can have a salad every single week because it's not wet and mushy anymore. And this is so easy to do, and then this thing is so easy to wash. The whole thing comes apart. And then just after a quick 10-second spin, there's so much water in the bottom of this bowl. And all of that would have been on my plate, changing the texture, diluting the dressing, and now it's just not. Get a salad spinner. If you're going to be, once you find a salad that you like, get a salad spinner because it's absolutely, absolutely worth the $25 that I paid for this. All right, my veggies are all cut up, washed and dried. My chicken is just about done. I'm going to go check on that, and then we will come over here and assemble. My chicken has been cooking for about 10 minutes. I've stirred it a couple of times. It is getting nice and caramelized kind of all over, and this is actually ready to go. And now that everything's done, We are just going to assemble our salads and then dinner is done. It only took about 20 minutes. The assembly for this is super easy. All I'm going to do is add in my greens to each bowl. And then I'm going to do the dressing. And because this is a vinaigrette, it's really important that you give it a good shake. The oil and the vinegar will separate in the bag if you don't. And I'm just going to add about half to each plate. And then because I added some of the salad base, I added my own veggies. I know that this is not enough dressing. I got this bottle of Asian style sesame dressing. It's not exactly the same, but this is the one I usually get. It's good. It's good by itself. It's good with this one. I've tried a few of them. This one is by Simple Truth. I think it's just a Kroger brand. But I'm going to add just a couple more tablespoons to each plate. And then I'm going to add the chicken right on top. And then last thing, I think every salad needs some crunchies. This salad came with wonton strips and almond slices. You can also buy, I know you can buy wonton strips from just the salad section at your grocery store. There's probably sliced almonds there, but I've never looked. Tortilla strips also work here pretty well, but I don't think they're quite the same. And that's it. In 20 minutes, dinner is done. I never thought I would be a salad person, but this sesame ginger salad has turned into one of my all-time favorite dinners. I could eat this all the time. I have this for a quick lunch on Saturdays, on the weekends, without any protein added, without any chicken added, but I add in a chicken breast, and this is just such a great dinner. There's so much food here, so if you're looking for volume eating, this is such a great way to go. Cheers.